Arizona Science is supported by Research Corporation for Science Advancement.
For Arizona Public Media, I'm Leslie Tolbert, Regents Professor Emerita in Neuroscience at the University of Arizona, and this is Arizona Science. We're talking today with Sharon Megdal, Director of the UA Water Resources Research Center, and also a professor in the Department of Environmental Science. Thanks very much for joining us today, Sharon.
Thank you for having me on.
So the big question for you is, how are we handling the threats to clean water supply, both locally and internationally today?
The Water Resources Research Center is actually likely one of the oldest centers on campus. It's been around since 1964. We're part of Cooperative Extension, and we're really a bridging type organization. We bridge the academic community with the non-academic community, and we work a lot on helping translate the science and the information, and we work with local communities. Our research is quite applied. We offer some really great webinars. They're for free, and we post the recordings. And so we're really a bridging organization trying to empower individual and communities to understand water resources and contribute to decision-making on water resources.
Tell us specifically how you engage with indigenous peoples. You have a strong record of understanding what has been developed on our tribal lands in ways that should help us to learn from them and see what we can do in our cities.
Over the last few years, we've made a very specific effort to be inclusive of indigenous voices, to be sharing information about indigenous communities. In 2021, our annual conference, which is our signature event, was on indigenous tribal resilience. I gave a talk at a university in another state about the role of indigenous communities in the Colorado River Basin, and I called it The Role of Indigenous Communities in the Colorado River Basin, Listen, Learn, and Listen. Because there is so much that we don't know that we can gain from learning about how they view their water resources and how they view nature and environment holistically. It's very important that people have the opportunity to learn, and that's some of what we do.
So you recently participated in the United Nations Water Conference, and I think you brought this indigenous knowledge with you to the conference. Tell us about that.
So in March of 2023, only the second time ever, the UN convened a water conference. The first one was back in 1976 or 77 in Argentina. What many of us are trying to do is help in the ways we can elevate, increase the voices of underrepresented communities in some of these discussions, which not only includes indigenous communities, but often women, especially when you look at globally in certain parts of the world where women's voices are not always heard in the scientific and policy debates.
Tell us about how you define what you call wicked water problems.
Wicked water problems is a concept that I was introduced to about 6 or 7 years ago at one of the Water Resources Research Center's conferences. These are big problems that they don't have a single solution. You can't say, here's this big problem and let's fix it. Sometimes we don't even agree on what the problem is, right? And so we may have good science, we may have science related to what's going on in the climate, but people don't necessarily believe the results of the science or the causes of it. And so the wicked problems, I think, helps people understand that be patient. It's not like we can fix it overnight. We're all going to be working on it for a long time, and it will take teams of people, university people and others, but we're working on it. We're working on it intensively, and we need the public, the people, everybody uses water to understand that they're part of the solution as well.
Dr. Sharon Megdal is an expert in international environmental water issues, and we're delighted to have you here, right here at University of Arizona. You can listen to this and all Arizona Science conversations at azpm.org/Arizona Science. I'm Leslie Tolbert.
Thank you to Research Corporation for Science Advancement for their support of Arizona Science.